Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos, and you're watching Spotlight Georgetown. You can find us Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening. You can find us at other times with shows that are being replayed, but those are our standards. And the standard for Georgetown is we have the 3rd floor of Town Hall. We do have a cable TV studio. If you'd like to come and learn how to run the cameras or do some editing, we'd love to have you join us. If you'd like to be in the hot seat, let me know, because we'll make that happen too. Now today we're talking to Joan Laporto, who is the Director of Finance and Operations, new to Georgetown Schools, and Donna Straight, who is the Director of Special Education. Now you're both new this year.
Correct.
Two newbies at the same time, huh? Now, where are you actually from? Either one of you, both of you.
I live in Beverly, and I worked in Beverly for about 20 years, a little over 20 years in the school department, and most recently was working in Newmarket, New Hampshire, in a school district, and decided to come back to Massachusetts.
And what about you?
Primarily, my career has spanned in New Hampshire. Recently, the last couple of years, I was Director of Special Ed in Battle Creek, Michigan, which is where your cereal comes from. But this is kind of a homecoming for me because I grew up in Tewksbury, so it's nice to be back in this area.
Oh, nice. So why did you choose Georgetown for your new positions?
Well, when I worked in Beverly, it was a much bigger city. We had 7 schools and a big budget. And when I went to Newmarket, New Hampshire, it's a similar size to this, and I realized that I really liked the small town. So when I saw this advertised, I said, what the heck, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And I decided to leave Newmarket because the cost of transportation was just awful at $4 a gallon. So
living in Beverly and traveling to Newmarket.
Right.
Beverly to Georgetown's much shorter.
Much shorter, 25 minutes on a good day. So,
yeah, that's not bad. And how about you?
I have a good deal of experience working in city-sized school districts. Raised my children in a town in New Hampshire virtually the size of Georgetown and was on the school board there for 6 years. So I understood the connections that you can make within the community, within the school district, with the kids and the parents. And when I saw a Georgetown opportunity come up, I thought, well, I think this is for me right now, that I'd really like to get to know the community and the families as well.
Now, what's the process from between high school and becoming an administrator? It sounds like it doesn't happen overnight.
Do you mean coming through our own education?
Yep.
For me, I had gone to work in the school department actually was the secretary in special ed, and found that I really liked working in the school district, so I was encouraged by my superintendent to go back to school, so I did a couple of times and just worked my way up. So it took me 20 years to get here.
And how about you?
For me, this is in a way a second career. I was working as a software engineer for a number of years, really wanted to be a teacher, so went and got a couple of master's degrees in elementary ed and special ed, and just from there kind of kept working my way up. So I've taught from K through 12, and then I've been an administrator from K through 12 and at the district level, just learning all the different pieces of the education process and how to make a difference in that.
And there are a lot of pieces.
There are a lot of pieces.
Most people that they send their kids to school, they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Now, what are you most looking forward to bringing to Georgetown?
I think because you have a building project, in the works, depending on what happens with the election. We built a brand new high school in Beverly, so I was intimately involved in that. So I have a lot of knowledge about buildings and facilities. I think also I bring experience either from the small town or from the big city of increasing revenues. So I've kind of set my sights on trying to bring money into the district. I watch what we spend, but my goal is to try to increase revenues for the district.
Oh, that would be nice. And what are you looking forward to doing?
And for me, it's all about collaboration. So what I'm looking forward to doing is having a collaborative effort between and among the 4 different schools and the levels, as well as having that collaborative effect between general education and special education, because all students are everyone's students. They shouldn't be segregated into 2 different groups. So that's what I'm looking to bring here.
Now, you've been here for just a few months. What has been the highlight so far? And I realize it's just a short time frame, but
For me, it's been the people. The people have been terrific. The people in the schools, people in the town side, the town employees. My staff has been great to work with. Superintendent Donna. Mike Anderson, you know, facility is a big part of my job, so working with Mike Anderson has been really a highlight.
He's done a great job since he came in.
He
really
has. Yeah, good guy.
Yeah. And what are some of your highlights?
I think that I would say the same thing, just getting to know the people. I have fabulous staff that I'm working with. The principals have been really open to collaborating and working together. Julie DeRocha has been fabulous as the Director of Curriculum and Instruction. She shares the same vision that I do for, you know, uniting and working together for all of the students' benefits. And, you know, just working with Carol Jacobs as well has been very beneficial. And Joan.
Everybody enjoys working with Carol. It's always fun to have her on the show. Now, what's the vision that you're talking about?
The vision is, again, having every teacher and every person understand that all kids are all of our kids, and looking at incorporating all of the programs to be together so that we don't have special education programs, general education programs. What we want to do is, to the best of our ability and to, you know, what's best for students, is to have those programs working together. So it's a unified front for all students, you know, increasing student outcomes for both education and their social and emotional aspects as well.
And that's a big part of it, because if they're socially uncomfortable or emotionally uncomfortable, they're not going to do well in their studies.
They're not going to learn at all. And that goes across the board, because as you move along through your developmental phases as a child, it doesn't matter if you're, you know, a special education child or not. Everybody goes through phases. Everybody needs some kind of assistance at some point in time. So we're really looking forward to pulling that together. Not to say that those pieces aren't there now, it's just that as a united front, we want to be working together.
Even kids that have great grades all the way through, they need some help in some sections more than others.
Absolutely.
So it's not that these kids just kind of go right along and know everything right away.
Nope, absolutely. And so you have staff that are special education staff that they have certain skills and they've been trained or educated in specific areas to help those kids that, you know, whether it's developmental or emotional, or, you know, we all have strengths and weaknesses within our learning outcomes. You know, they can provide some assistance to those kids, as well as providing some strategies for the general education teachers. And on the flip side, general education teachers, obviously they know their content and curriculum and, you know, how to teach in those areas, and so they work collaboratively with us too. So it's really a win-win situation.
Okay, now, goals for this year. You want to raise money.
Yeah, I want to increase revenues, and we're already working on two projects to increase the Medicaid revenue, which goes directly to the town. It's a program that is based upon the need of the students, but we work directly with the special ed department, so we get Medicaid revenue. The town gets it for all of our special ed costs. So we're trying to really be detailed about it and get our reports in on time to get the most bang for the buck that we can get, even though it goes to the town. We're just embarking on and participating in an E-rate program. E-rate program is funded through schools and libraries nationally, and it's to offset costs for telecommunications, internet access. And you know, we don't have a large free and reduced population in Georgetown, luckily, but it's based on that. But there is money available out there, and even if it's only $20,000, it would help to offset costs. That would come to the school district. Most recently, together with Mike Anderson, we've implemented a web-based software program to track facility maintenance, so that we can put a cost on everything we do. We can show the public, we can show the MSBA in Boston that we do maintenance on our buildings. So we just started it this week. We have a training together on Friday. So it's something that I'm very excited about. We used in my previous district, and I just think that will make everything clear to people, because when we tell people we do take care of our buildings, we do maintenance on our buildings, it's hard to show them. We don't have something we can show them unless we pull invoices and pull time cards.
This is follow the money.
Right. This will show exactly what we've done to do regular maintenance on our buildings and then preventative maintenance With the ESCO project that's going on right now in the town buildings, they're coming in and they're putting energy efficient programs in place, new lighting, and today they were doing door strips underneath our outside doors to try to conserve energy. And so we want to maintain what they put in place for the ventilation system. So in order to maintain it, we need to do annual preventative maintenance or quarterly preventative maintenance. So it's, even though you only have 3 buildings, it's still cumbersome for one person to track all that. So we've decided to, it was a low-cost web-based program, so we're very excited about that.
Now it's getting almost time to build the budget. How does that happen?
Well, in my experience, and I'm new to Georgetown, so I'm not sure how it happens here, but typically we got a number from town or city hall that basically told us what our percentage increase was going to be. We know that the salaries and benefits drive most school department budgets. It's usually about 75% of the budget.
And that's contractual.
Very, very much so. It's the teacher's contract, the custodial contracts, individual contracts. We also have 3-year contracts with like our bus company and phones and whatever. So a lot of your costs are already there. So then it's to decide if we can't keep every position we currently have based upon the percentage we're going to get, then we have to either raise revenues and increase our monies, or we have to make hard decisions where the administration has to propose cuts. And then we work together as a team. As I said, it's new for me here, but typically we send out information to the principals and the directors to get what they need for their budget. Special ed is a huge driver of the budget, special ed tuition out costs. And we start from there, and then we make tough choices, and then Carol will present her recommendations to the school committee. The school committee will then have to make tough decisions and either adopt what Carol has recommended or ask us to go back and look at it. Are there other ways to do things that we could still be maximize what we have for personnel? And in the end, I believe it goes to a town meeting here. It's very different for me because I just had a board of aldermen, or they just approved it or didn't approve it. So this goes to a town meeting. We are starting something new. We've been meeting with a couple of members of the school committee that we are trying to develop a new website for the Georgetown Public Schools, and in that we're going to have a whole section on finance. So as we produce documents that show what we think we need as a budget, and then it has to come back and make revisions, that will all be posted. A suggestion was made that I come up with like Budget 101, everything you always wanted to know about what makes the budget.
The little yellow book.
Right. The definitions of, we use terms and we're very friendly, the terms are friendly to us and we use them all the time, but somebody from outside doesn't necessarily understand what we're talking about. Yeah. So try to make it clear for them. So hopefully that will all be in place before we start the budget. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Now that leads to one of the questions that I had talking about special ed budget. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of our school budget goes to special ed.
Certainly.
And what kind of areas does it go into, and how much control do we have over that?
Well, it really varies across the board. There's any number of areas. There's, of course, there's the staff that's within the schools themselves. There's also some assistive technology that some students might need to allow them access to the general education curriculum. Okay. We have some students who are placed out of district that have very specific, unique needs that we, as a small district, can't provide services for. Transportation's another area, and then very specific programmings for, again, our populations that need some very specific education and instruction within each of the buildings.
Now, what are the challenges facing you and your staff with the special ed kids?
Well, I think what everybody is finding, whether it's Georgetown, Massachusetts, Michigan, is that there seems to be, for whatever reason, there's a growing population of specific, students, whether it's the autistic population, students with ADHD. There's a number of genetic disorders that just really seem to be becoming more and more prevalent within our society. And those challenges are ensuring that we keep up on all of the empirical research so that we're providing that appropriate instruction, that appropriate education for all of these students so they can have access to the curriculum and they can continue to move forward.
Now, special ed, does it start right in first grade, or does it start later on, or?
Well, it actually, for the public schools, it actually starts at 3 years old. But there's also early intervention where children who are born who have some very specific needs that are recognized right away, that starts right at birth. But with regards to Georgetown, it's from 3 years to 22 years that, you know, we have some responsibility for providing education for the students.
Wow, didn't realize it started that young.
Starts that young and goes that.
Right, you can only imagine what it can do to a budget once the budget has passed and is adopted, and we start July 1st, and Donna and I both came at the same time and went, like, we weren't there 2 weeks, and we were hit with special ed costs that weren't budgeted, that had just happened. And you don't have a lot of wiggle room in a small budget. Our budget's only a little over 12 million, and some special ed tuition out costs can cost $100,000 with the, you know, $30,000 for transportation. So that really throws your budget into.
And that's actually the very next question, was how do you manage to balance the students' needs with the students' costs?
Well, I think just to kind of dovetail on what Joan was talking about, and I've seen this happen again and again, and oftentimes is it just takes that one student, that family, to move into town who has certain specific needs that have been agreed to that now we're obligated to provide payment for. And that is some of what we saw coming in that, you know, now you're required to do. So again, as Joan had referred to earlier, when those types of things happen, you have to really kind of hunker down and start making some of those cost analysis decisions as to what are the absolute must-haves and what are the things that we can try and do without. How do we rejuggle our staff to try and meet the needs? So there's a lot of ways of looking at how we balance the budget. And the good news is that it's a very collaborative approach we have here in Georgetown, and it's, you know, so far so good, working well.
I know when they start doing the budget, they have a lot of hearings and a lot of meetings, and the public can come. It's not a private meeting. School committee meetings are all
Very
open to the public,
Right.
and they need to participate. If people don't participate, then you can't be upset. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So how would someone get hold of you if they wanted to talk to you about the budget or about special needs for the kids?
They can call me at the central office at 352-5777, extension 541. They can email me at laportoj@georgetown.k12.ma.us. They could come to school committee meetings. We have 2 meetings a month, every other Thursday. There's a lot of information put out there at the school committee meetings. They can watch the school committee meeting on TV. I don't know if it's televised live or if it's taped, but I know it's televised.
They're usually done live, usually.
Right.
If
So
the room's available.
Right. So there are a lot of ways, and as I said, we are developing our new website, which hopefully will have a lot more information on there with regards to budget, that they'll be able to access the information, and then if they have questions, they could call.
Okay. How about you?
My office is at the middle high school, so if you call the middle high school, they can forward a phone call to me. And my email is straightd@georgetown.k12.ma.us. Or go online and you'll find the link.
And for a lot of people, if you go onto the website, all of the emails basically are the same thing, but with the first initial and the last name. So
Correct.
I mean, it takes people a while to say, well, this is a lot of letters.
Right.
Correct.
It is a long email address.
But another one thing that I'd like to say is for our special education parents out there, that on the first Tuesday of every month we have CPAC meetings, which is Special Education Parent Advisory Council, and we meet Tuesdays at 6:30, the first Tuesday of the month at Pembroke Library. And I would really encourage parents to come on out. I will be there, some of my staff will be there. Many parents are there, and what we do is provide different workshops, resources, engage in dialogue about maybe a specific learning disability or how to help your child, or bring different people in to present different areas. So I would love to see more participation from parents, and that would be probably the best place to start.
Okay, so parents, come on down. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Welcome
Nice
to
to meet
Georgetown.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's
Welcome
great
to
to meet you.
Georgetown. It's nice to have you both here, and I imagine you'll be knee-deep pretty soon.
Budget will be knee-deep probably in a month or so. Yep, we will be.
This is Spotlight Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos. Don't forget, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us today. Bye for now.